So there's more than 50 speakers, and I was number 17. Thank everybody in here speaking. I wish, I wish I could stand up where I was, because that was a good shot.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Gene Claxton, and I'm from Downey, California. My son was murdered by a cop shot in the back with a submachine gun. I was one of those middle-class people that stayed at home and watched TV and was complacent and didn't even know what was going on in the world. I didn't know it. I was ignorant. And you guys, if you don't step up and do something, you're ignorant too, and you're going to remain that way. I didn't know that these things were happening. I was at that protest on Saturday, and I thought it was wonderful until a couple young people came out with their spray cans. I didn't like that. I didn't like that. I appreciated the fact that the police wasn't out there harassing us, and they weren't in the beginning. But when those young people got a little bit out of hand, the cops went overboard. Come on now, bringing out riot gear and tanks, and going and snatching people off the street. It went from the right thing to do to insane. I was watching. I went home. I left at about 2:30. I went home, and I had the TV on. I had the computer on, watching the live stream. And as I was watching the live streams, different live streams, and these reporters were just streaming and filming, and all of a sudden, they were snatched. They weren't out there causing any problems. They weren't doing anything, and they were snatched. Why? First of all, why in the world would the police department act like we're a third world country to bring people out there loaded to the eyeballs with weapons, with people that they know didn't have weapons? They know they didn't. The people weren't rioting. That was not a riot. It was not a riot. Even though those young people that came out there and did the things they should not have been doing, it still wasn't a riot. But they were treated like they were, and then to snatch those people that were filming, they beeline for those. And all those charges should be dropped. You guys should drop those charges. You should insist on it. I want to tell you, yesterday I went out to Highland because a young 16-year-old was shot and is in a hospital, lost a kidney, part of his liver, major damage to his stomach, is on life support. They don't know if he's going to live because the police officers did not know how to handle a person with a hammer. So they shot him. That's the kind of thing the police officers are doing now, Dan. You need to make a change. You guys need to make a change. Somebody has to start. There has to be a starting point with the police department. You guys need to go change that POBAR, the Police Officers Bill of Rights, to where you're protecting the citizens. You're protecting the citizens. Okay, righteous police officers need to be protected. But you know what? When they do the things like they did to Adam and to Patty Beers, come on now. You don't want that kind of people. They should be reprimanded. And let me tell you something. The whistleblowers should be promoted. And the whistleblowers should be getting medals and honors. The whistleblowers. You need to protect your whistleblowers.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hi there. My name is Janie Patzes, and I hate talking in front of crowds, but I hate more what took place in Fullerton. And I heard Mr. Barnett say, I made a comment that the officers did not have any malice in their hearts, and that they were just doing the jobs that they were trained to do. You gotta be kidding. Kelly Thomas was homeless, schizophrenic, sick. Are these officers trained psychologically before they go out there? Because it certainly didn't look like they were. Mr. Cincinnati went after the same eye on Kelly Thomas, the same eye that he lost. Did he get psychologically tested before he came on this force? They are all saying that Kelly was crazy. No, I think that way those officers acted was crazy. And the only training that I saw from that video is training how to cover themselves, how to lie, how to say he's resisting. They made it impossible for him to get his hands behind his back. Why couldn't they have handcuffed him when he was sitting there? And we would still have a life, and hearts wouldn't be broken. And the way the city handled it when it first happened was no heart. Those officers had no heart. Let me clarify that with Mr. Burnett. No heart. And that's what those hearts are for here tonight.
to bring back heart in Fullerton. We need to set the example. This is happening too much. Cops are just killing people that are not armed. Why don't they, can't you guys come up with another solution? That you save lives, that's your last resort? And then they come out with this big old squad and tanks and everything on Saturday? Really? I can understand that nobody should break the law. I don't think they should. But you know, I wish that whatever you call it, the riot gear company with the Hummer, I wish they would have been there for Kelly. What do we do as citizens if we see officers kill a citizen? What can we do as citizens? Jump on and get killed too? What is our hope? So those hearts are for hope. Those hearts for all the people in Fullerton that have broken hearts because of what you did to Kelly. And those 6 officers are guilty because not one helped Kelly or showed heart, not one. Nobody heard his cries. Nobody heard I can't breathe. Nobody stopped beating him. Nobody did anything. And that is not hard. And if you're going to be a true professional and wear that badge, you better have a heart before you have the badge. And that's all I have to say. And I hope
Next speaker, please.
Hello, Police Chief, Mayor, City Council. Thank you for hearing me. I'm Linda Hagstrom. I'm a registered nurse. I'm a homeowner and a citizen of Fullerton for 58 years. Our parents saw fit that this was a good town to raise us in. And the rest of my family who has children see Fullerton as a good town as well. When my father graduated from Police Academy, a long time ago, words were used like honor and admiration and safety. And those words are used today in Fullerton, where our police officers aren't admired. And Fullerton is in deep trouble here. And it breaks my heart, not only for Kelly, but for Fullerton. We're in deep trouble. And I thought to myself, what's the answer here? And when a parent calls the jail to see where her son is, and it's met with loud chewing on the phone and laughter, ha 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 ha, on the phone, that's unprofessional behavior. And that's simple unprofessional behavior. And when a kid gets loaded on the bus, or all the people that got loaded on the bus, and a police officer comes to him to harass and taunt, that's crossing a line. So I thought, does this lie with our leadership in Fullerton of the police department? Big responsibility there. Is it education? It certainly is training. Our police officers are required to have a high school diploma. Do you want anybody with just a high school diploma and a training session where they build brawn in the police academy to control your very life? I propose to you that you start thinking about requirements for our police department, for our entry-level police officers with a bachelor's degree, which would give them time for maturing, which would give them critical thinking skills, which would help them stop when they're enraged with adrenaline in their bodies, to stop and think and not to proceed to harmful solutions for our Fullerton townspeople. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Terry Taramura. I'm a resident of Orange County. I have family and friends that live in Fullerton, and I shop and drive through Fullerton. I know you weren't at the murder trial for Ramos and Cicinelli, but I was. And I have to tell you that the people did not get a fair trial. Mr. Rokakis never wanted to even file charges on these officers, but he was forced to because of the public outcry. And he wants to keep his job. So the jury was stacked for acquittal. He knew who he was approving for the jury, and he knew that he was going to put a defense attorney. He okayed that defense attorney to sit on that jury. So who do you think convinced that jury that those officers were innocent? He clearly colluded with the other side, and the people did not get a fair trial. He never called any witnesses from the bus stop at that night. He never intended for those officers to be charged. So I really hope the FBI steps in and prosecutes these killers. The jurors were given a smokescreen and fed lies, and they bought it. So I don't blame the jury, and I don't say, oh well, the people had their day, the jury spoke. I don't accept it. I don't accept the verdict. And I will protest for Kelly and my brother Michael Nida, who was killed in Downey. And as for Saturday's protest, I was there also. And after 6 hours of being out in the heat, I also left, and it was peaceful. Like my mom said, my mom was just up here. It was peaceful. There were a lot of angry people out there, as you can imagine. We were all very angry. But there's some young kids who don't know how to act, and us older people were trying to keep them in line. And we don't condone the tagging and the vandalism. But what I don't appreciate is the media, the lamestream media here, who says that there are 150 to 200 people out there. There were close to 400 people. And this verdict affects all of us, not just Fullerton. And that's why we're coming in from out of town. And it really bothers me that, Dan, that your officers went out there and targeted those live streamers, like my mom said. They targeted the live streamers, and they came out in riot gear. We were not rioting. And I guess this happened after I left. And this is what I heard and I saw on the live streaming. They were snatching up people in undercover cars. This is unacceptable. Don't we live in America? Where are our rights? Where are our constitutional rights? People were there paying respect at Kelly's Corner, and they were snatched up.
Thank you.
We're on speaker number 25, so 26 through 30, please come line up.
My name's Kendra Castaneda, and I'm a resident of Fullerton, and I've been here probably about a year and a half. And I've also been a victim of a former police officer here in Fullerton. So I know what it's like to be a victim from an officer. And I was told that 3 months ago, that former officer Ron Bear was let go from the police department. Well, in my interview with Sergeant Cluggett at the police department, she reassured me that he would never hold a badge again, nor ever be a police officer, or ever be a detective.
Oh, really? Yeah, Lenore.
And I was given a letter by Chief Hughes over here, understanding my frustration with former officer Ron Bear. And I've only been here for a year and a half. Never did I ever think that I would be a victim of a 27-year-old veteran. He put me in harm's way, but he also put my daughter, my 11-year-old daughter, in harm's way. And he's been let go. He's not prosecuted for what he's done. He put a gun to my head, and he could have pulled the trigger. And Kelly Thomas, he's not alive today to say what he's been through by these officers. I know there's good officers and bad officers because I was raised by a police officer. It was like my only father. And now he's the chief of police for one of the largest police stations in the United States. And I also was trained within a police department from law enforcement. And this is not how police officers are supposed to treat people. And just because Kelly Thomas was homeless and had mental issues and he was resisting, as what they say, doesn't mean he should have been beaten. Chief Hughes over here, he said that you may want to consider the poor choices you have made to contribute to your situation, as if it was my fault what his police officer did to me. Please do not reinstate. Officer, what's his name? Sissy?
Mr. Sissy.
Because if I'm being told that the officer that hurt me and my child is never going to be an officer again, then why should we be here talking about this?
Thank you for your comments.
I represent Dave Bankston, a member of Kelly's Army, Mr. Mayor and Council. No, I've been here from the very beginning, early on in during these council meetings. Mr. Whitaker, you should be stepping up a lot more than you have. You've been here through it all. Mr. Froese, I'm disappointed in this whole council in the way that they have acted on proposals with the police department and things that the police department is getting away with. We're constantly being violated our rights as American citizens. You know, I have an incident that happened this evening where my daughter lives. The police would call neighborhood complaint and drawing guns on innocent people and dragging them through the garage. That happened just tonight. Friday night, police officers beat the living heck out of a guy in Carson on the ground, not resisting, but continually to beat him beyond recognition. You know, this is what we're coming into. You know, this is what our police departments are coming to be trained as officers, to serve and protect. They are trained to fight against any causes that are going to be disruptive to them. You know, we saw that during the protest. We had video out there, people being arrested because they were filming. You know, those are the people that got snatched off the streets. This isn't a communist city anymore, you know. We want our city back as the way it was. I grew up here in the city of Fullerton. I went to Nicholas and Woodcrest and Richmond Elementary. You know, I've lived here a long time. And I've seen a lot of changes take place over the years, and this is bad. We need to make changes with this PDR or whatever the police ordinance thing is that's going on right now with the regulations that we're trying to change and the way the police react and respond. You know, we need that consideration here between the council and start making changes here for us. You know, we live here, we pay your guys' salaries. We're your taxpayers. You know, we are your citizens who elect you. You know, we can also get rid of you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker, please.
Oh, when she comes back, the seat is empty.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Lenore Albert, and I'm an attorney in Southern California.
Go girl.
I had one reading prepared for you, however, after I've heard everyone speak, I don't think you need to hear those issues, and I think you need to hear something else. First, I want to say thank you to Chief Hughes. I was there on Saturday. His police force, by not interfering from 10 a.m. to 3:30 p.m., there was a wonderful thing that happened.
It was great.
Unfortunately, what did not get recorded by the main press and the media, there were a bunch of peaceful protesters out. Some people had shirts with loved ones that had died from police brutality. Other people waved flags. It was a very congenial atmosphere. There were some outliers there. I could not identify them for you, but they were outliers who were trying to cause a ruckus. And the peaceful protesters tried to put them back in line as best as they could. And the community started coming together. You would then see people passing by like a parade in their cars, and they made their own posters, And they were holding their own posters outside the window in support of the community. And it could have been such a positive, wonderful thing. Some people put their posters on their grill. One couple, they were octogenarians, they drove past, back and forth, like cruising the lanes, and they had a sign in support on the grill of their car,
So
which
sweet.
was
So
an
they
old
can march.
converted police car. And these were wonderful things, unfortunately, that were wrought by a little bit of outliers. It almost seemed like someone had paid them to come to try to distract the beautiful thing that was happening. But I want you to understand, you do have a good community. You do have a positive community, and don't let the few bad apples take over the story and the opportunity that you actually have here. And you do have a wonderful opportunity because the world is watching. A lot of times city council members don't have that kind of opportunity to make change and effect change and be an example for other communities, not only in Southern California, but around the country. And I hope you do the best, and I'm sure you will do the best to take advantage of that. As far as what happened at 3:30 p.m. on Saturday, I want to paint the very clear picture for you. There were only 5 of us there when the police came. It was myself, my legal assistant, another person, Mr. Thomas, and the PBS reporter. The rest of the group had left. I didn't notice because I was sitting, so Mr. Thomas and the PBS reporter were standing in front of me. The next thing I know, when I look to the left, there's 25 to 50 riot gear police blocking my egress on the street. And I look to my right, there's another, 25 to 50 police officers in riot gear blocking that side of the street. We asked if we could leave, and we could not. It was through phone calls to Chief Hughes that let us leave, and I want to be very clear here. We didn't get to leave for a long time, and there were only 5 of us there on the sidewalk. I think that should give you pause. There needs to be, I believe there probably needed to be a reaction to the outliers, but maybe the system needs to be not only in proportion, but at the appropriate time.
Thank you. Your time is up. We have others who'd like to speak. Can you wrap up, please?
Yes, I want to encourage you to take advantage of the opportunity, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Can we have the next speaker, please?
Hello, City Council members, concerned citizens, and law enforcement. I am a very, very angry citizen, but I am peaceful. Let me repeat that. I am a furious citizen, but I come in peace. Also, I am not from the city of Fullerton, and this issue goes far beyond this city. Now, who will protect us, the people, when the police violate the law? I stand here today to speak with truth, even if my voice shakes, even if I am struck down. I do not value my life as much as I value freedom, liberty, and justice. I am speaking out against corruption for my God, and so that my children and their children's children can live in a land that was promised to them by those set in the past years. And it starts right here in the city of Fullerton. I am here for Kelly Thomas, and honestly, it could have been any one of us that night. I am a young American, and I have purpose. Like my forefathers before me, I'm here to fight against the tyranny that has taken over the land in which I held so dear. Let me remind you, I come in peace. The brutal murder of any citizen in this country should never be justified by a group of people who are just doing their jobs. For the decline of civilization will be carried out by those who are simply doing their jobs. The job of the police and the judicial system is to protect the people and uphold the Constitution of the United States of America, whether that means exposing crimes committed by chief of police, or that could mean being in good enough shape to be able to detain a 140-pound man. We should not be afraid of the police should be afraid of us. But I can guarantee that a majority of the people in here, when passing a patrol car on the streets, you get an uneasy feeling. When the people are afraid of their government, that is tyranny. We come to the city of Fullerton to demand justice and to put an end to the ongoing police state that has taken over. Why must you show up to our peaceful protests with in-wrap vehicles? Why must you show up in riot gear? We have no intent on violence. We have no weapons. We are unarmed. We come armed with only cameras and protest signs. I have watched this great nation turn into a police state where citizens now fear their lives when dealing with police. It's disgusting, and I will not sit around and watch another American murdered by a policeman. I am fed up with the injustice and corruption of those set in place to protect me. To any police man or woman, uphold your oath you took to the Constitution.
Sir, your time is up. Can you wrap up, please?
Uphold your oath and protect what you're supposed to protect, enemies foreign and domestic. Thank you.
May we have the next speaker, please?
And will speakers 30 through 35 please can line up?
A lot of what I was going to say has already been said, so I'm going to keep this pretty short. I just wanted to thank Chief Hughes for standing behind what you said and saying that you're not going to take them back onto the force. I hope that you all stand behind him and support this decision on that, and that you don't challenge it at all. I know Councilmember Whitaker was out and spoke to supporters at one point and heard our concerns. And when I was listening to other people talking, I thought about the fact that, basically what it's going to come down to is a choice between paying these guys out for wrongful termination or letting them back on the force. And I really hope that you guys take into consideration the fact that no amount of money is worth having a danger in society on the streets. There's, even if you have to pay them out a ridiculous sum, that's not worth endangering the public. And I just really hope that you take that into consideration. And I also want to say that I think it's important that you guys try and pass a resolution or something to pressure the Department of Justice to file federal charges, which would also take away that problem of wrongful termination. I don't think that it should be up to the community to keep that pressure on them. I think that you guys need to stand up and do that as well.